Hello everyone, welcome to biology class. In this class, we are going to see 9th standard biology, chapter 19, plant physiology. So this is the part 2 of the plant physiology chapter. Already we have seen the learning objectives in part 1 of this class. Already we have seen about the movements in plants. There are two kinds of movements, tropic and nastic movements. So in today's session, we are going to see about the other two important functions in plants. Number 1, photosynthesis, and number 2, transpiration. First, let's see about what is photosynthesis. The word photo means light and synthesis means to build. So thus, photosynthesis means building up with the help of light. What is built up with the help of light? Food is built up with the help of light in case of plants. Hence, during the process of photosynthesis, the light energy is converted into chemical energy. Thus, the green plants are autotrophic in their mode of nutrition. What is autotrophic mode of nutrition? Preparing their own food is called autotrophic nutrition. So plants are going to prepare their food materials through the process called photosynthesis. What are the things that are required for photosynthesis? There are 4 important things that are needed for photosynthesis. Number 1, light. So the plants get the light energy from the sun. Number 2, plant require water. So water that is found in the soil in the form of soil solution is taken up by the plant through the roots. So from the roots, the water reaches the leaves by means of xylem. The next requirement for the process of photosynthesis is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is found in atmosphere. So the carbon dioxide gas enters the leaf through the small holes or the pores that are found on the under surface of the leaves called stomata. I'll tell you about stomata in the upcoming slide. And the fourth requirement for the process of photosynthesis is chlorophyll molecule. So chlorophyll is a green pigment which is found in the leaves of the plant. And the significance of this green pigment chlorophyll is to absorb the light energy or trap the light energy, thereby helping for the process of photosynthesis. Let's see the end products of photosynthesis. The end products of photosynthesis are glucose and oxygen. So the carbon dioxide and water react in the presence of sunlight, leading to the production of glucose and oxygen. So the glucose which is formed as a result of photosynthesis will be converted into starch and stored in the plant body. So glucose is a simple sugar. This simple sugar will be converted into a complex sugar called starch and it will be stored. So many glucose units join together to form the starch molecule. Glucose is a monosaccharide, simple carbohydrate, whereas starch is a polysaccharide. Plants take in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis and leave out oxygen. But for its respiration, plants also need oxygen. So, similar to animals, plants also use oxygen for its respiration and leave out carbon dioxide. Only for the photosynthesis process, plants take in carbon dioxide and leave out oxygen. Now let's see the overall equation of photosynthesis. So 6 molecules of carbon dioxide reacts with 6 molecules of water in the presence of sunlight and the green pigment called chlorophyll to give the glucose and oxygen. So the formula for glucose is C6H12O6. Next, do you know? So now we have seen in the process of photosynthesis, the plants are going to trap the solar energy. Do insects also trap solar energy? Yes, of course. Insects also trap solar energy. Not all insects, but in this case, oriental hornet, a kind of wasp, it is known to trap the solar energy. So Tel Aviv University scientists have found that Vespa orientalis, the common name is oriental hornet, a wasp. They have the ability to trap solar energy. For this process, they have a yellow patch on its abdomen and also it has got a thick cuticle. So cuticle is the covering layer. So it has got a stack of 30 layers thick cuticle. So this is the Vespa orientalis insect. So the cuticle does not contain chlorophyll, but it contains yellow light sensitive pigment called xanthopterin. So this xanthopterin is going to trap the sunlight. So how in plants chlorophyll traps the sunlight, similarly in the case of Vespa orientalis, this xanthopterin pigment is going to trap the light energy and it is going to convert the light energy into electrical energy. The second important process of plant is transpiration. Transpiration is the process in which water is lost in the form of vapor from the aerial part of the plant body. So what is the aerial part of the plant body? The plant body that is found above the soil is referred to as the aerial part of the plant body. So here in this illustration, you can see the water which is absorbed by the roots, it travels up through the plants and this water it is let out in the form of vapor from the pores found in the leaves. So now we will see what is stomata. So stomata are nothing but tiny microscopic pores. So water evaporates through these stomata. So in the process of transpiration, water evaporates through the stomata. And also I have told you in the process of photosynthesis, the carbon dioxide is going to enter through the tiny pore or hole called stomata. So each stomata is surrounded by guard cell. So in this illustration you can see this is the pore or opening called stomata and this stomata is bound or surrounded by means of two bean-shaped cells called guard cells. So these guard cells are helpful for regulating the closing and opening of stomata. The types of transpiration. There are three types of transpiration. They are number 1, stomatal transpiration, number 2, cuticular transpiration and number 3, lenticular transpiration. Let's see it in detail. The first kind of transpiration is stomatal transpiration. As the name suggests, this transpiration is going to occur through the stomata. So thus, we can define stomatal transpiration as loss of water from the plants through stomata. So here in the picture, you can see the stomata is a tiny pore which is found in the undersurface of the leaf. The stomatal transpiration accounts for 90 to 95% of the water transpired from leaves, which means through the stomata, the plants lose 90 to 95% of water rather than the lenticular and cuticular transpiration. The second kind of transpiration we are going to see is cuticular transpiration. Again, cuticular transpiration is nothing but the loss of water in the plants through the cuticle. So what is cuticle? So cuticle is a waxy protecting film covering the epidermis of the leaves. So it is going to cover the epidermis. Epidermis means the outer surface of the leaves. Epi meaning outside. So it is found in the epidermis of leaves, young shoots and other aerial parts of the plant. So thus the transpiration taking place through cuticle is called cuticular transpiration. The third kind of transpiration is lenticular transpiration. So which is nothing but the loss of water from plants as vapor through the lenticels. What are lenticels? Lenticels are tiny opening. So here you can see in this picture, they are the tiny opening and they are found in the bark of the plants that are having woody stem and also twigs and as well as in other plant organs. When the water is lost through the lenticels, that type of transpiration is called lenticular transpiration. So now we have seen what is transpiration and what are the three different kinds of transpiration. Now let's see the significance of transpiration. So transpiration is necessary for the following reason. So due to transpiration, it creates a pull in leaf and stem. So without the process of transpiration, the water cannot reach from the roots to the leaves. So this transpiration process only creates a pull, so which the water will travel to the leaves, overcoming the gravitational effect. The second function of transpiration is it creates an absorption force in roots. And transpiration process is necessary for continuous supply of minerals because as water is carried along with the water, minerals are also supplied. And transpiration process regulates the temperature of the plant. The last topic is exchange of gases. So how does the plant get air? The plants get air or the exchange of air takes place in the plants by means of minute pores called stomata. So these minute pores cannot be seen through our naked eyes. These pores can be seen only through a microscope. So the air exchange takes place continuously through the stomata. And plant exchange gases carbon dioxide to oxygen continuously through these stomata. So here you can see the internal structure, the anatomy of leaf. So in the anatomy of the leaf, you can see the leaf has got two epidermis, the upper epidermis and lower epidermis. In the lower epidermis only you can find more number of stomata. So singular it is called as stoma. So in the picture it is marked as stoma. So through these stoma only the gases are exchanged. So during the process of photosynthesis, CO2 is taken inside and oxygen is left out. Whereas in case of respiration process, oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is left out. So in this chapter, we have seen about the plant movements, photosynthesis and transpiration. Hope you will be very clear about these topics. Thank you.